Yeah.
We are back with our first pull-up podcast episodes with a guest. We have Sean from 710. Sean is director of production and packaging.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Welcome.
He has a couple of not donuts. What would you call them, Sean?
Fruit roll-ups.
Fruit roll-ups that they rolled up. So I'll let him kind of explain. We got, I should probably do a plug-in with everyone on it. So we got Flintstone today and Pearled. GT is in the background. He has to go to dinner. It's a fancy dinner.
He's ditching us.
So, yeah, go ahead. Explain the fruit roll-up, Sean.
So the fruit roll-up is a take on the donut, but instead you have multiple layers to it. So for this one that we rolled up, we have two of them. So we have Jackson Heights. The first layer is Jackson Heights water hash, followed by Jackson Heights Percy sauce, and then a snake of Percy batter. Wrap that all up into a nice snake on its own, and then it's like you throw that right in the center of the donut. Next one you got is Rick James. So that is Rick James fresh press Percy rosin, followed by Rick James Percy sauce, and then followed by a snake of Rick James Percy batter. Wrap that all up, and that is thrown into which combo of flour?
So one of them is Ravenite by Blueprint, and what was the other one, Judas?
The other one was Candy Fumes by
Coffin
Doja.
candy, ladies and gentlemen.
Coffin Candy. That's the third time today.
Really want that candy?
Julius wants candy.
We haven't
Fumes
smoked them
bad.
yet. So yeah.
So how did you come up with this? Like, what was the first time you did this? What made you want to do it?
So it's actually with Jake from Fear Booth. We were at his place, and it started with when he had the FOB OG going around last summer. We had the Sweeties, which is our face-off OG to White Tahoe cookies, and just the OG pairing. And so we had water hash at that point, and we also had Percy batter. And we decided, all right, let's see. We'll try to lay down a bed, kind of make a bed of the water hash, almost like a big flag. And then from there, we made a snake of Percy batter, and then we rolled that up into kind of its own snake as well. And then we were sitting there, and it was like, all right, let's see what we can do if we can do this three ways. We ended up having Percy sauce Sweeties. So we're like, all right, FOB OG base. We'll throw some fresh press down as the base, and we'll throw some Sweeties Percy sauce on there, followed by Sweeties Percy batter, and just evolved from there.
Wow.
That was last year, right?
That was last summer, yeah.
And then you guys you and Jake from FOB, you guys just had a donut collab drop, and these guys rolled it up. I don't think people realize how hard it is to do it. So I kind of want you to explain, like all you guys, kind of like the process and how to make sure things are like QC'd and proper and smoking the right way, and then how you guys came up with your combos too.
Chief Rolling Officer.
I mean, to begin with, it's a lot of prep that goes into it. You got to start prepping the snakes, everything. Thankfully, the 710 team helped out with the snakes on this drop.
Chef Slab.
Yep. Also, you got to just prepping the flour, prepping all the rolls. The roll is just a part of it.
And then
Absolutely.
And then we had the noodle thrown into it for this one to give the little 710 flair with that. So there was that additional learning curve of them having to work with the noodles for their first time and kind of perfecting that. But they came out phenomenal, and we're really glad that we worked with them on this drop.
How did the noodles come about for 710?
I can't remember exactly how they came about, but our founder, Brad, it's been an obsession of his since we launched them, and he just it's something that's a little bit of a 710 flair that we think sets our joints apart from the rest of the market. It's like it's a little quirky, I think, but it's like you get that you got customers and they're like, wow, the noodle filter, it's very different, but then they try it, they smoke it, and it's like, it ends up having a nice effect on the smoke with having this spiral rotini noodle on there, and it's like, we end up telling people, we're like, you can end up cooking this pasta if you want, throw a couple noodles in your next batch of pasta, and it's like you have an infused batch.
Pretty sick. Did you start your career in weed with 710? Was it in Michigan? Where did kind of all start?
So, I met Brad from 710 who's the founder of 710. I met him in, I want to say it was late 2012, early 2013, and it so happened that I happened to be going to Ohio State at that time, and Brad was actually alumni of Ohio State. Ended up being out in Boulder a couple weeks later, met Brad, met his wife, gave me the whole tour, brought me to the dispensary, made me feel like I was at home, and then just always stayed in touch with him. Was always going out to Colorado, grabbing 710, was coming back to, at that time, Ohio, showing my friends all of that, and then ended up going into real estate after school. Decided after that was doing commercial real estate in Manhattan, where I grew up, and ended up just enjoyed it, but didn't like the 70 to 80 hour weeks at that point. So ended up, I got into the rosin scene when that first came around. I was always buying bulk hash. I was smoking water hash very early on, probably started smoking water hash late 2013. And at that point, it was very slim pickings on what you were able to find that was good quality. And rosin came around by soil grown solventless. That was around early 2015 January. That was when he kind of put rosin onto the scene, and so started buying my own rosin bags, bought a hair straightener like a lot of other people, and just started pressing any of the hash that I could get, trying to source the best hash across the U.S. that I could find. At that point, it was Seattle was putting out some of the best hash in the game, and always stayed into that, really liked the scene, and just decided when I left the real estate, it was at the right moment. It was April 2017. Tried to take a couple months to figure out what I was going to do, and then decided, I'm like, all right, I'm going to move out to Colorado, actually get into the legal game. Hit Brad up and was like, I'm moving out there. Went out there November of 2017, talked to the team, ended up deciding that I was going to move out there end of January, and it was right when they got the license for their MIP in Colorado, and they needed someone to start the rosin department. So I took that on, and that ended up leading to managing production in Colorado. After being there for 5 years, late January of last year, decided to make the move out to Michigan to help build our team out here and get us ready for the launch. And kind of, that's really it's gone full circle, and excited to see where it goes.
I have a question about the scene from back then, but I see Anthony. He's ready to light one of them.
We're on standby.
How are we going to do it? We lighting both? We lighting one and then lighting the other?
What does Sean think? We
should start off with
I think we start off with that and see how that one goes.
Yeah.
the cannon and then the
cannon.
missile.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's let the roller of the mysterious joint explain what happened.
So basically, I was rolling this one, and the tip, I kind of knew before I even sealed it, the tip was too big. But I still went with it, and turned out to be a little.
Short things come in small packages. Small things come in big packages.
Little cannon.
That one's gonna
Show.
bang.
That thing, we are unsure of the placement, right? We're not
Well,
sure
so
exactly where the placement is.
I
right
placed
now.
it as you would normally in a donut, but after it was packed, I don't know if it turned into a puck or what happened to it. We're gonna find out.
Oh, man.
It came out. It's like in the tip.
And
There's
3
5 grams.
3 grams of hash, 5 grams of flour.
Yeah.
Yo, that's gonna
And,
burn for an hour.
That's just gonna go straight to the head from the moment it's lit.
If we can get it lit, it's gonna take a
It'll be
lot to get
The
lit.
Roman candle.
He's got a, what do you call the tip when it's like extendo like that?
Telescopic.
Telescopic.
Patent pending.
Patent pending on the telescopic tip.
It's functional too. Tapers down to a more comfortable like mouthpiece.
Then the other one Anthony rolled had a little bit less problem. It looks,
Well, I mean,
He aborted the big
yeah.
tip.
In Julius's defense,
Anthony
he was the
learned.
guinea pig.
Yeah.
He went first, so I decided let me take another approach. This worked out. Same ratio, 5x3.
man, I remember when you and Jake posted that thing, and I was like, what is this? I was like, thing is insanity. Like, I've never seen anything like that before. And like, I'm so nerdy online, I look everywhere for different stuff, especially like weed stuff. I was like, I've never seen anything like this. And I hit up Jake, and I was like, what is going on right now? And then like you see it bubbling, like the bubbling of it is insane. The whole inside of there is crazy.
We've never seen anything like it prior, and it was just something that we were just like, let's see what we can do. We're already smoking ridiculous donuts with 2 to 3 grams of hash in it. It's like, might as well figure out another way to kind of progress it.
Is this something you guys want to release one day together?
We would like to, but it definitely would take a lot of
Pricey.
work. It would probably be something that like you could release 100 of maybe, and release it at like 2 or 3 stores and make it kind of just like an exclusive product to those stores. Maybe your best customer or your best accounts that you have, or just stores that do really well on selling infused joints.
Won't be cheap either.
No, it wouldn't
Yeah.
be cheap because it's 3 grams
It's
of
3 grams of
hash.
hash.
Bursty hash too at that.
Yeah, and 5 grams of flour. So
We're gonna have to take a poll. Who would pay $500 for a 5x3 donut? We get enough. It might
They're
be
out
worth
there.
it.
They're out
They're
there.
out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
there would be.
I would
people-
probably do it one time. To be honest, just try it. Like this is my first time I'm gonna try it, but I'm sure with the combos that you guys come up with, like Anthony gave me a lemon poppers by 7-Up the other day.
Mhm.
Like I don't really smoke donuts like that, but it was amazing. Like the combo and like the way the flavors went together were awesome. And it was small enough. What was it? 1.5 by
0.3.
by 0.3.
Mhm.
So like for me, that's the perfect amount, and it smoked so good.
It's nice because it's like you could smoke those solo, you could smoke those couple people, and it's like it'll still burn for a pretty good amount of time, and it's like everyone will get a nice couple of hits on it at least.
That's the fire ratio. That's the same ratio we dropped. The lemon on lemon.
Mhm. How's it going over there, Julius?
It's hitting. Like there's airflow through it, so it's not.
Hey, man.
It's not. Didn't get clogged, which is good.
Did you use a hemp wick?
No, I drenched it with butane with my
No.
with my torch.
It is pretty hot.
Julius actually
Not
stopped
fire.
using the torch lighters. He just dips the end of the joint in butane and then lights it.
It sounds like it worked pretty well.
Candle tech.
You can smell the hash.
So how
Yeah,
was
for sure.
I wanted to ask about the scene when you first came in. Like how was hash in 2013? I had never smoked anything in 2013. So like I don't know anything about it from back then.
So hash in 2013, it was the majority of the stuff on the market was BHO product at that point, and it was from varying degrees. From you still had a lot of the brown batter product that just didn't look very appealing. And then you had people who were producing high-grade live resin, which was kind of like sugary at that point, and they were a lot of people were pretty much just throwing that on parchment at that point. And then you had shatter, which was pretty much dominating the game at that point. And eventually that kind of led to you saw a lot of people starting to put out batter products on the live resin side, and then started eventually making the diamonds and sauce products. But on the for the solventless end, it was few and far between for people who were actually putting out high-grade solventless material. Fresh frozen didn't really exist at that point. It was few and far between for people that were actually freezing their material. So most of the material that you were getting, it was dried whole plant or dried shrimp, actually. You had trichome heavy extracts in Colorado. You had in Seattle, you had Goat Organics that was putting out pretty high quality product at that point. And then eventually just it started to progress. People started hearing about fresh frozen material, and now we're kind of in the age of is really solventless, and you see more and more companies converting to it, and a lot less companies putting out BHO products just due to the pricing that where the product has gone at this point.
The future is now.
Yeah, it's crazy
much.
because like the past couple years, you've seen rosin like really take off like crazy. Like we would see it in the store like in the beginning when I started like 4 or 5 years ago. People would ask for it, but it was never like a staple. And then like the last 2 years, people ask for rosin more than they ask for any other concentrate. And like just to see it progress that fast, and especially because it's not like there's not. For some reason, there's not very much cheap rosin.
No.
Like, it's not really a thing like it is where, like, people are selling buckets of live resin that's, like, $20. You know what I mean? They don't really do that with rosin. And I feel like, I guess you could speak to it. How hard is it to go through, like, choosing genetics? Because it does for you to wash something properly, it's different than if you were going to smoke something properly, right? Like, you look for different things.
Yeah,
like, how do you guys
looking.
choose that?
So we're looking for resin, at least when we're hunting for anything that's going to go to solventless. We do hunt for flower as well, but for flower, it's like we're looking for structure, we're looking for effects, we're looking for a lot more things to check boxes. When on solventless, what you're really looking for is that perfect resin and that flavor. You don't really care how the flower goes. Like, you want to look for some. It would be nice to have some good biomass yields combined with good hash yields, but sometimes those really don't line up together. For example, Skittles, extremely low biomass, but an extremely low yield on that. Typically, for us, we see it going around 3.5% to 4%, and it's not a bad yield, but when we have stuff in the library that can yield 5 to 7%, you can definitely get, and also where you're doubling the biomass compared to that. You can't run Skittles in every room. It's not, if you're running Skittles in every room, it wouldn't really make for a profitable entity at that point. But at this day and age right now, what's the biggest thing that's differentiating you from another company is what genetics are you hunting?
That's
and
right.
it's like, are you going and trying to find the best seeds that you can, and are you popping all these seeds? Having a pheno hunting room where you have the ability to run 100 to 200 seeds at a time, sort through all those plants, find the ones that you guys want to do test washes of, pick through all of those properly, where it's like you have people on it. We have a quality control team that'll go through, along with Brad and Skelly, who are in LA, and combined with director of cultivation up in California, director of extraction, multiple other people on the QC team, where they'll be able to go through these pheno hunts and really have blind tastings where it's like they don't know which pheno's what. It's labeled by letters, and they basically will end up trying to pick what they don't know what the yields are, and from there it's like they narrow it down, they find the ones that they want to rerun, and eventually we end up with maybe 2 winners, 1 winner. If we do find multiple winners, typically what we'll try to do is we'll go back to the breeder and ask them if they have an alternate name. We've noticed a lot of customers not being able to understand when there are pheno numbers attached to stuff and you have multiple phenos, and it really makes it a little bit harder. So it's like we give it that special name that we like to give the breeder the opportunity to give its rename, just so we can have that on the market but help differentiate itself.
I think what's cool is like you guys have the aspect of like we're running a company, it still has to make money, but at the same time we're willing to put out stuff that isn't necessarily just to make money. Like you guys, like you said, Skittles doesn't yield well and it doesn't wash well, but you guys will still release it.
Yeah. For example, Sweeties we washed the other day, it was a 1.3% yield, but we'll run that every once in a while because we want to get that flavor on the market. You don't see people putting out much OG rosin these days. Another one, chocolate oranges, that was about like a 1.9% yield, and it's that Durban Jack Turp, which you just don't find in solventless. Not everyone loves it, but when you do find the people who really enjoy it, it's a nice kind of reminiscent from the past, almost from like the BHO and the flower, when you started seeing all of that Jacks around, which you really don't find anymore.
Right.
I love that derb, like Durban, Jack, Lemon. Wow, Anthony already got started on the next one.
How was that hidden Schlab? Is it
It's a slow
clogging?
burner, but
It's not clogging.
it's not clogging.
No, I don't think it will.
Can we get
Smooth
the torch
sailing.
over here?
Well, yeah, you guys definitely have the most unique, like, library, like genetic library, without a doubt.
And it's like at this point, now we're trying to hunt for specific terps, where it's like, all right, maybe we want to find something on the sour end, or maybe we want to find, I know what we really want to find is some more OG. I know recently addition to the library was some Cold Creek Kush OG, which should be hitting most of the states pretty soon, along with, I know Skywalker OG is back in the lineup. That was one that ran for a long time in Colorado pre-2018, but haven't really seen that one around in a while. That used to go by Skywalker 600, because those ounces of Skywalker in Colorado were going for about 600 an ounce, which
Oh, yeah.
Skywalker was a hit for a minute,
Skywalker, man.
Skywalker was everywhere, and it was so good back then. When I had it, it was really good. There was just like a wave of it that came through.
and no one's really growing it anymore.
No, it kind of just disappeared. It had like its wave and then never came back, which is exciting to see.
Do I set this off in the opposite direction? I think so. I don't know how this is going to be, this roto, but
We're gonna forget
snake
which
it
way
around.
is which.
might need some.
The whole podcast might just end and no one know. Everyone, the guys filming, us, we're just going to be finished halfway through both of them. We're going to just...
But we have a couple new ones that are going to be coming to the lineup in Michigan soon. It's going to be Peach Jolly Rancher, which is from Higher Ground Canna, and that is Forbidden Fruit to Banana OGF2.
Wow, that sounds so good.
And then we have Queen's Sugar Cookie, which is Cushman's to Spritzer. That's from NY Seeds. He goes by his name is Caesar. He's based out of New York and Colorado, and this was his really his first breeding project that he went on with, and we were lucky enough to get some testers from him, and we've been hunting through them. We've found at this point, I think 3 or 4 keepers from the pheno hunt, or from his seeds that we've pheno hunted through thus far. So really exciting results so far, and been seeing a lot of other people posting about them. So be exciting to get him some publicity with that.
I don't think people realize how hard it is to find a keeper. Like how much gear you guys have to run, and then just how many of the same plant you have to go through to find something that's worth keeping. And then sometimes you run through all those and you might not keep anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like people don't really realize. Like you said you were running hundreds of the same strain sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a massive investment for people to do. Most people don't even do it.
No, not at all. Like Firewater, when we hunted that, like we ended up with Firewater 106. And it was like, I don't know how many phenos ended up making, or how many seeds out of what we popped ended up germinating. But still, to hunt that many seeds and go through that, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it seems like it. But you can tell in the product, like the people that put the work in, and you notice like they're willing to go through all that because they want to put out something that's superior and like different and unique. You go in and like, yeah, I don't think anyone in the world has had a hitter every single drop of their lives. But like, for me, I appreciate when someone's trying to push the limits and like try something I haven't tried before, and because it takes a lot of balls for someone to do it. Like everyone can run the same stuff that never like that you don't really have questions about. It's always like kind of stale turfs.
Well,
Yeah, yields well, tests high, and like all this stuff. But for you to be willing to like basically risk profitability business to do it is very cool. Like it's cool for me to see because I'm not on that side of things. Just like as a consumer, it's fun to be able to go in and try a new strain from somebody all the time.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, all of us at 710, where it's like we're all extremely big consumers and connoisseurs, and it's like that's what we want to see. We want to be able to smoke different stuff every couple of months and have all of these new genetics being released to the market.
By the way, this thing is insane. You know that one guy that we who on Instagram was inhaling the smoke from the other end of the joint.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do
tempted?
that right now. No, I'm
For
not
sure.
tempted, but I like in my head I was like, this is ideal for this guy.
I know. It's call him up.
They're
Man.
just like pounds of smoke coming off this thing. It's wild, but the flavor is amazing.
dump it.
He'd be
This
sick
one
without
had,
nailing that.
How's
What
that
was the
one?
rosin in this
It's
one?
good.
Or the
pulling-
everything.
That was
the for roll-up?
The Jackson Heights.
What is like the terp profile on a Jackson Heights?
So Jackson Heights is one of our Randy Watson phenos, and that's runs to Wedding Crasher. And so for this one, for the Randy Watson number 13, that's more on like the gassy candy side, or the gassy candy side, rather than the Jackson Heights, which was renamed. That one is on the more just like straight runts, like no gas, but just
Candy.
like straight candy.
Candy, yeah.
So it's like perfect pairing for that coughing candy.
Yeah, it tastes so good, and it is like heavy on the candy side, and it complements each other really nice. Where am I passing this thing?
Right.
To the right?
Yeah, we'll pass that back around, make a circle.
That thing is a monster.
Burn
But it like
for a while.
You know what I noticed too? When the pairings are good, I don't cough. A lot of times donuts, like if they're harsh, I'll be coughing the whole way. But when it's paired well and like certain strains or certain types of rosin just will be smoother for some reason. I don't know what it is exactly, but it for someone who doesn't smoke it all the time, it makes it a lot more enjoyable instead of me coughing my brains out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the curation of the combinations actually plays a big role in that. I know what you mean, Andrew.
Yeah, I watch you guys. Like that day that I think you were here, Jake was here, all you guys were here, and you were just like going through them, and I was like, these guys just tried like 6 donuts in a row just to try it. And like I took 3 hits and I was cashed. And I went home and it probably took me an extra 15 minutes to get to my house.
That was a wild one.
FPE.
Yeah, FPE, man.
FPE, yeah, you
It's
guys.
product experts.
I gotta limit myself to like 1 a month.
Yeah, and it's like we'll have these days where we'll come pull up here and it's like we'll throw up 7, 8 donuts. And
It's historical.
yeah,
There's people probably like,
it's real work.
will you sell a
Historical.
ticket for it? Yeah, it is. By the end of it, you're so like gone. You're like, man, this is like not easy to figure it out too, and then to be able to tell the taste between them. Like when you guys did the party on party, I tasted that one and it tasted so good, and then we had tried another one, and I was like, that tasted good too. Like, how do you decide? Like, how do you guys decide? Because you guys do it all the time. Like, does everyone have to like something, or do most people have to like it, or like, is it just this is unique compared to everything else?
I think it's a combination of both.
Right.
It's unique, but it's like also a lot of the times it's like we find these flavor combos that just pair perfectly, and it's like you just want to keep going back to them.
The one we just dropped, lemon on lemon, is kind of controversial because a lot of people don't like lemon terps that as much.
True.
Yeah, but it's like if you do, it's
Yeah.
like
That's the one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
100%.
like it's flavor full through. It's just complete lemon coating your mouth, and just if you enjoy that, it's
Yeah, I personally enjoy the lemon
Oh, yeah.
terps.
I enjoy
Yeah,
that.
me too.
And it's like it's not something that's like that you necessarily need to smoke every day, but it's nice to have that once in a while. That just
Mhm.
like
For sure.
gassy lemons.
Yeah.
For some reason, lemon terps for me, like during the day, don't KO me as much as like other stuff. I don't know if my body reacts to it a little differently, but it's like it's more functional for me a lot of times.
Mhm.
Like me and Anthony got a batch of lemon tree that we smoked together, and I love it. Like I love those old strains. Like me and Cardell used to get the lemon tree, actual lemon tree,
Mhm.
back in the day, and then like they had some. There was like some lemon jack and stuff like that, and those are my favorite.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. Smoke more of that.
Me too. Shout out Grub and Ganja. Curtis Phenos.
Lemons will not go out of style.
No.
No. I think just certain people appreciate it more.
Yeah, and it's like we also have lemon tart pucker #1, which is something that's been in the library since 2000, I think 16 or 17 at this point that we're still running, and we've been getting that more dialed in, and this upcoming round of it is looking absolutely phenomenal in the gardening. We're really excited to put that out.
That's living soil as well.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys, how do you guys put like your genetics in the vault basically? The tissue culture, or is it like, or do you guys have different methods of doing it?
Just continually rotating just mom plants.
Okay,
Always.
got you.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
But we did, I know at one point we did have tissue culture in Oakland, but that's something that we no longer have, I believe. But we try to keep at least most of the states have these genetics at this point. So if there is that wild case that genetic gets lost, it's like you always have another state that ends up having it.
It's like you
Yeah.
guys got your own little like archives in each state.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Yeah, and it's like I think at this point in Michigan, I think we have over 100 cultivars in the library.
that's awesome. Just to be able to go and grab it as you need it. Now, I have a good question that probably everyone wants to know. How do you guys come up with your merch? Because, like, so your guys' merch is, like, some of them are funny, some of them are super creative, but they're always, like, different than what everyone else puts out, in my opinion.
So a lot of the merch is that's from who does a lot of the creative Skelly in California, who's one of the partners in 710, along with Brad. They are both very into fashion and just kind of have a very creative mindset, especially Skelly in the way he designs things. And Brad lets Skelly run with a lot of these things, and Skelly comes up with some great designs, and it's really exciting to see, especially I'm sure a lot of you have seen the Close Friend wrap jars. We're very excited for the ones that we have coming for first quarter of 2024. But for example, last year we had AOL Instant Messenger with LimeWire on there, and it's like these small little creative things that you don't see many other people putting out. And it's like we try to stretch the boundary that it's like we're not just a cannabis company. We try to put out these designs that people love. Example, Camp High. We've done a couple clothing collabs with them, and they're people who we've brought in from who just knew Camp High as Camp High, but then they saw they were doing collaboration with 710, and then they learned about 710, and it's like we can bring customers on that way by kind of doing collaborations outside of the cannabis industry where you're able to attract different customer bases.
Yeah, I think that's always been a cool thing when people go outside of our industry and start working with people. I think a lot of there's a lot more companies now that are appreciative of what it takes in this industry. You can't really just be a celebrity and hop in and do well. Like, it doesn't really work if you're not actually
Aligned.
aligned and
Yeah.
in it and actually about it.
And you see a lot of those celebrity cannabis brands end up fizzling out. There is not enough interest. They don't do the product selection, and most of the time they're just taking something and just throwing it in a bag and renaming it.
Yeah, most of the time.
Guys, the Canon, amazing.
Canon
It's
swap.
actually hitting better than I thought it was going to hit.
Yeah, it's hitting good. They're both hitting good.
I love that.
Yeah,
I feel like a
mine-
mob
yeah.
boss hitting that.
The amount of resin on the outside of the paper is
Oh, it's
crazy.
crazy.
I wasn't even holding it upside down anymore.
I want to see what happens
It's-
when
it's like-
it's like able to ash, what it looks like.
The resin's going to
Yeah.
collect on your fingers, guys.
Where?
Like, if you hold it upside down long enough, it's
Oh,
going
oh,
crazy.
for
yeah.
sure, for sure. Like, you can see.
You can see it drip basically almost down to the filter at this
Big
point.
That is
drip.
insane.
It's just one big dab every single time.
That is insane. How do you know this is something we don't think about because we're all in the industry? But if you were new and you were in the position of I want to leave my commercial real estate job and get into weed, how would you tell someone to start in the industry? Like, what route would you tell someone to go? Like, depending on what they want to do, like, how would you tell them to go about it?
It's so hard at this point because it's like, I feel like for all of us, like, there was still, the black market existed a lot more when all of us kind of had the opportunity to get into the industry, where it's like now it's pretty much dominated by commercial, and it's like most of the time you don't have these avenues to learn about most of these products, and it's like unless you're really willing to go, like at least someone who wants to learn how to make water hash, it's like it's not very easy to find a position where you can go make hash for a company. There's only so many companies, and there's only so many number of positions, so much turnover in that position, and it just, so it's like unless you're willing to go get a home grow and learn how to grow and then teach yourself how to wash, it's tough for someone to get into the industry. And I feel like you really have to be willing to start off at the bottom. And it's like, for me, I definitely sacrificed a lot when I came from the commercial real estate world in regards to salary and such. It's like I wasn't making anywhere close to what I was making in the commercial real estate world, but it was like my mindset was always like work hard, and it's like you're going to end up being able, if it's like, as long as you're trying to learn all aspects of the business, which at least when I joined 710, we were very small in Colorado, and I had the opportunity to learn a lot of different departments and operations, and it's like I was able to really learn how the company operates and take that and build on it. When it's you really have to just figure out how to get into the industry and be willing to start at the bottom. I really feel like at this point it's like, and show that your work ethic separates you, and you'll be able
Right.
to kind of build
You
off
have to
of
be
that.
passionate too. I think
Mhm.
passion takes you a long way, because what's really the distinguishing factor from you and somebody working harder than you? You know?
Yeah, especially to leave an industry and take a pay cut. Like, I feel like so many people think, like, oh, you're in weed, you get more money.
No,
Like, no, man, it's hard. Like,
it's like there is
you get
no-
less, but it's the opportunity you get to, like, with you, that company was expanding, and you soaked in all the knowledge, and were like, I'm going to use this to my advantage, and stuck it all the way through. Companies growing, there's growing pains.
Exactly. I saw what the company was doing, and I saw where the 710 brand, like the name carried, and it was like I was willing to kind of bet on myself at that point, and it's like know that 710 was going to build a big market share in Colorado, and then eventually California. We have our partnership in Florida with the Flowery, and then now Michigan, which is off to a great start. We're almost at it'll be a year it'll be a year, I think, next week that we're at full production for most departments at the facility, which is very exciting.
Let's go.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype.
Let's
I
go.
remember. Do you remember when we first heard 710 was coming to Michigan?
Yeah,
We
a
immediately
lot of
were
hype.
like, what is this going to be about? All these out-of-state guys come, and they're not as good as what in the other states. And, like, initially we were kind of still about it, and then you guys started releasing better and better batches, and we were like, yeah, this is the 710 we know in every other state.
And
Which is cool, because you don't see a lot of out-of-state companies that want to come in and, like, grind until they, like, it takes a minute just to dial things in no matter where you go, right? And, like, a lot of companies will kind of, like, they have a hard time riding the wave of trying to figure it out.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my big reasons for wanting to come here. Is like, I was in Colorado. I was in a great position there. Had a great set of friends over there. Enjoyed my life. Colorado's a great place to live. Enjoyed working with everyone that I worked with over there. But I knew that we were coming to Michigan, and the biggest thing is like being able to replicate what we've done in other states, and replicate the process, and make an understanding for quality and what we actually look for day in and day out. And it's like the reason why we smoke 710, and it's like why we take pride in all of our work and the quality. So coming out here, it's like I knew with everything that I've learned in Colorado, from all of the ups and all the downs, I would be able to take that over here and really be able to kind of help lead that and make sure that the quality standards that we're used to are being met here. And it's really from day one, like on the first harvest, there was some of the best batches of water hash we've seen that we've produced coming out of this facility. So just right off the bat, it was amazing to see, and that's a lot in part to our director of cultivation, Tom, who's done an amazing job with just embracing the culture here and really building a great team on the cultivation from the cultivation standpoint to get us to where we're at this point. Because it's like, if it wasn't for the cultivation team, we wouldn't have the fresh frozen material that we need to be able to produce the hash, and we wouldn't have the flour that we need to be able to kind of meet the market's demand for donuts and just regular joints.
Definitely. Shout out to the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are killing it. You know, I don't think people realize how much did it help you.
They're both on Andrew right now.
Oh yeah, you guys are all waiting on me. I was gonna say, should I ash this or leave it?
Whatever you want.
This thing is
You might have to side by side.
I'm not side by side. No.
This thing's getting sticky.
Double fist.
What I was gonna say is,
It was sticky when I had it.
I would
think
hold it the
it's
other
the
way.
paper is just like a light brown now.
Mm-hmm.
These were element papers to start out with.
But there's one more thing we need from you guys, Sean, that has yet to drop. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What, edibles?
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening about
Soon,
that, but I know
hopefully.
we want to launch them, and I know I think the goal is to find a partner out here, like we do in all of the other states. California, we have we're partnered with Elefante. Colorado, we work with Dialed In Gummies. Florida, the Flowery is about to start putting out gummies with us down there with our team. So I know one of the goals, I believe, for this year is to kind of find a partner out here that'll meet the quality that we want to see in gummies. And it's like, for us, I know like all of our gummies we produce is like pectin gummies. We try to stay away from the gelatin. It's like we want to make them where it's like they're vegan and anyone can eat them, where it's like now it's like you always have to worry about people with dietary restrictions. So it's like being able to kind of make it or have the ability to kind of attract a more diverse customer base.
Can't wait for it.
I ate a whole box of rosin gummies when I had COVID. I actually got COVID from sharing a 710 donut from Cali with my brother. And then we ended up just, my wife was like, go stay at your parents' house and just chill in the basement with your brother till you're better. And we killed a box of 710 rosin gummies for a week.
They're great.
They are so good.
They're actually, that's my dad's favorite thing, those gummies. It's like he always needs at least 5 or 6 boxes with him at all times.
Were your parents always cool with weed? Like, my parents were not cool with weed for a long time.
They weren't too strict. Their biggest thing was always like they'd rather me try something at home if I was going to do it. I remember I think the first time I smoked with a couple friends down the block, but I didn't end up smoking towards like the end of my senior year of high school. And then when I was in college, that was when I started smoking a lot more, just like being away from the house and knowing that like I didn't have to worry about it. And then eventually it was like I would always bring that home, and parents started to realize more and more, and then like eventually they were just like, all right, like he's not doing anything stupid. It's like, so they really started to just kind of accept the fact that I was a consumer, and eventually I was able to get my dad to take a dab, but he was always he was a deadhead growing up, so I always knew that he partook when he was younger. He would always deny it to the day, but he always tried to make it like he was in the choir, but we always knew that wasn't true.
Wow.
But when was my parents were kind of like growing up, it was just you're not allowed to touch it. And like I didn't smoke till I was probably like 22. But you guys were younger than me when you guys started.
My first time was sophomore year, and I didn't really smoke more till senior year in high school.
Mine's junior and senior year, same.
All right, so high school.
But I started smoking heavy in college.
Yeah. Once I started smoking, I kind of went like deep into it.
Do we got an ashtray anywhere?
We got an ashtray. We got a Fatty's ashtray, actually. We're going to have to move it.
Let's see how this one looks.
Sean, you remember the strain? Way back when in New York? What were you guys smoking on?
I can't remember anything that we were smoking on in high school
So it
at
was good.
all. Yeah. It wasn't, we were never smoking on like swag weed. It was always pretty decent weed, but I can't recall any
Yeah.
names at all.
At least it was good.
Yeah.
You passed the swag.
I feel like
never
at that
did either.
point, at that point, like I feel like we weren't really caring about what strain we got. We were all just like, all right, we're gonna go
Gotta
smoke
get
some
high.
weed. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to pass this guy.
Good times.
What was your first time? Where did you smoke your first time? My first time I smoked at my friend's house, and I ordered probably like 5,000 calories worth of Red Coat. And it was the best food I've ever eaten in my life.
I think the first time was down the block with just like at the park with a couple of my buddies one night.
Same with me. It was at my neighborhood park. Good times.
My first time was with George. We were on a cruise. We stopped at an island called Tortola, and we ended up finding some guy that had some weed. We basically bought like a joint, and I think it was a blunt, or it was a spliff. And we went and smoked them with him on the beach under some tree.
What was the most desperate things you guys have done, like being away, not having weed, trying to find it, and like just like whether it be in a different state or a different country?
This was when I first started smoking. I like couldn't source weed. It was like it was trouble to try to figure out how to find weed. I was in Venice Beach, and this dude, I'm pretty sure it was just a bum, was like, "Hey, want some weed, man?" And I was like, yeah. What do you got? And I bought some weed. And I went back to the hotel, and my cousin's like, if you smoke that, you're a moron. So I never smoked it, but I paid like probably $40 for like a gram of weed at Venice Beach. He's like, there's weed everywhere. How did you not figure this out? I was like, I don't know, man. I was kind of scared, to be honest with you.
I've had some of the most amazing like interactions with like weed and dispensaries in like Cali, but most recent wasn't like Europe last summer, especially Spain. Like it's unreal.
You were desperate?
Getting the flower out there. No, it wasn't desperate. It was just like a good place to like connect the dots in that manner. You know?
Yeah.
Like you're fine. You're smoking Cali.
Speaking of Spain, what's
Speaking
going
of
on this
Spain.
year over there?
What's going on? Spannabis.
I heard there's a whole
There's a whole squad
flight
going out.
all comes to this office. A lot of them. You'll be
Yeah.
there?
Field trip.
Yeah, I'll be
GT
there.
crew, Pearl,
GT crew, Cardell.
Cardell.
We got a whole squad going this year, and Joey's coming.
Oh yeah.
I'm eventually going to make it out there with you guys one day. Maybe next year.
But this year, yeah, we're going to Spain for Spannabis. That's 14th?
Yep, 13th. We leave the 13th.
Yeah, we'll be out there, man. If anybody's gonna be out there, holla at any one of us. Let us know. Link up with you. No, a lot of
If
people
you
already
pay
reaching
enough,
out.
they'll show you how to make a fruit roll up.
Yeah.
What were the highlights last year of Spannabis?
Joyous. I wasn't there. I went there in the summer.
Yeah, highlights of the actual event, are you?
Yeah, or just the trip.
I feel like the event was dope. There was a lot of vendors. Basically, the first day there is probably like the day you just scout. You know, look around, see all the vendors. After the second, third day, it's basically the same thing. But the trip, I feel like Italy. It was my first time in Italy, so that was probably the highlight of my trip. It was nice seeing going to Rome.
Were you guys smoking donuts in Italy?
No, unfortunately not. We had the Puffco, just dabs, and I think I had a pen with me too.
How was
Julius.
how was the hash scene over there?
It was good. In Brazil at HQ, I picked up some La Sagrada Farms. It was actually really good. I picked up some Skittles and something else. The Skittles was real nice. It had some kind of like cardamom hint to it. It was good Skittles.
It's exotic.
Julius was dabbing on face cream
Yeah, face cream.
in Europe.
It'd be like that.
Yeah.
I put the same label on mine.
Currently
I-
classified by TSA as face cream.
They tested him on it too, almost.
Now, whenever they see a jar with SP on it, they're gonna say, "Oh, it's face."
All right, so you gotta tell the story then. What happened? For sake of legalities,
Look at that.
rosin is not face cream. I can't hit the donut anymore. You guys got me baked, man.
It's crazy, right?
So basically, what happened? We were
I think it's crazy the whole.
we ended up missing our connecting flight from Paris to Barcelona, and so what we ended up doing was we left the airport. We went to go see the Eiffel Tower and come back to the airport. After we got back to the airport, we're going through security. They stopped me. They're going through my backpack. He pulls out my Puffco. He looks at it. He closes it up. Afterwards, he pulled out the jar of rosin. He's like, "What is this?"
The face cream.
I was like,
Yeah, he pulled out the face cream.
"The face cream." I was like, "This is face cream." He's like, "Huh?" Obviously, he's not doesn't speak English, so I was like, "It's face cream." So I started doing I'm doing motions on my face. He's like, "Open it." So I grabbed it. I opened it up. He looks at it, smells it, then he just closes it. Afterwards, he grabbed I had a torch lighter, the bigger, kind of like this, but bigger. They're the Eagle ones. And he was like, "What is this?" I was like, "It's a lighter." And he was kind of scared to like press the button. So he called over another guy for it. He looks at it. He's pressing it. He's like, "No, no, no." But then they ended up pressing it. He's like, "You can't have this." I was like, "Dang it." Ended up letting me go.
Wow.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how we present our new product, rosin face cream.
SPF 30.
SPF 30. Going to a CVS near you. That's crazy. What were you thinking? Like, were you like, "Fuck, I'm about to go to jail"?
The whole kind of, but like I was like, I just gotta keep calm and like if I start freaking out, then he's gonna question me more and more.
And
But
they
like,
don't know what that
You
stuff
handled it
is
well.
over there.
yeah,
They don't see that
He's
stuff
like, "Yeah."
enough over there.
yeah.
No, they don't
You
know.
might have to release
Well, you know
this
what
after
also
you guys
helped?
go to Spannabis.
I'm sure what also helped was the fact that it smelled like straight up candy. And
Yeah.
you know,
I forgot what flavor it was. It was either like slurp or
At
grape
least for-
lava. It was
yeah.
a select,
like
type.
no trace of gas or
Yeah, at least for hash, it's like if you have something like Skittles and someone smells that, it's like their first thought probably isn't going to "this is weed."
not at all.
Yeah,
It's face cream.
it is. Like, that smell is very good for traveling, honestly.
Just like there are the stuff that definitely does have that like weed smell, like the OGs.
Mhm. For sure.
But it's like if you have something candy, it's like
Yeah.
most of the time, like
You barely get a hint of weed out of it.
no.
Yeah.
What do you guys got coming next for 710? You guys got more collabs? You guys doing more
Yeah, we'll do
curate some flavors?
probably do another collab second quarter. We have a list drop coming up on the 19th. We got a new close friends dropping for that. That's going to be the Moonglow 70%, and then Starburst 36 number one 30% of that. Kind of get a nice balance of that Z with a little bit of orange coming through on that. So kind of the perfect ratio on that, which is really nice to see. And that ratio, it's actually, I meant 80-20, so 80% Moonglow, 20% Starburst.
I've been seeing you guys drop more of that, where you guys mix the two strains.
Yeah, and so it's like what we'll do for that is we'll mix the bulk hash in the prep stage prior to putting that in bags. So try to homogenize that as much as possible. Then we'll press it, collect all of that into jars, and then once that's fully done curing, we'll end up homogenizing that into a full product, and that's kind of where you get the perfect mix-up, making sure that's just that ratio is fully homogenized in there prior to jarring it up.
Yeah, that's sweet.
This has been a wild sesh, boys.
Has been a while.
This is crazy. 10 grams of flour, 6 grams of hash per seed.
That's how
That's a
much
lot.
per guy?
That's too much.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot. If you break it down, I can't do the math
Yeah.
right now.
It's about 1.5 grams of hash and
3 grams.
2.5 grams of flour.
Yeah,
3 grams of
It's an expensive night.
expensive night. Well, thank you for bringing everything, Sean.
Of course, thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me on.
Yeah. Follow 710. Check out their products if you can. If you can get on the list, I'll be honest with you, the stuff you get off of it is sweet. And it's fun to have first access to stuff people can't get. I feel like a lot of people still don't know fully about the list.
Yeah, so what the list is, it's like we curate a special list of products once a month, which will drop on our direct-to-consumer website. Right now, we're partnered with 5 dispensaries across the state. So when you're ordering on our website, it's the third Monday of every month is when we do the release. And so we'll have a special curated menu, which will range from all of our Percy products to flour to donuts to special collabs to our close friends, which we typically will release on the list only, which is just specially curated batches, maybe some stuff that we only don't run extremely often, that are extremely low yielding, that will kind of or combinations that we come up with. Or when we're releasing specifically new cultivars, we'll try to put it on that list where it's where it will only release there and for the first time. So it'll really only give access to people that are kind of the most dedicated 710 customers to kind of being able to have that first shot rather than having to go around and search for it at certain dispensaries.
Love it.
So
Love it.
when you're ordering off the direct-to-consumer website, you'll end up. We have 5 partners across the state, so you'll be able to select what dispensary is closest to you. So it'll give people options whether you're in the UP, whether you're in Detroit, whether you're on the west side in Benton Harbor. You really have the opportunity to get it at whatever's closest to you, while being able to kind of have that a little bit more intimate opportunity to purchase 710 products and really get a specially curated menu.
I think that's the future. Like that kind of release. Like you guys are one of the few doing it now. I think a lot of people are going to try to do it later on, like 5 years later, and be like, man, we should have been doing this the whole time.
Yeah. Direct to consumer, especially, like, people are
Yeah.
going to be following.
There was a lot of to learn, especially it was in California for the longest time by itself, and it wasn't something that was easy to replicate. Especially, California was very different because the way the state's set up. So it's like if you have a distribution license, you're able to distribute the product yourself to customers. So it's like on the list, we were able to deliver directly to customers, or we could eventually work with delivery services to assist with that. But Colorado, there was no delivery services. And when we launched in Michigan, what we wanted to figure out really was like we wanted to launch a list here. So what we figured is like, all right, we'll partner with some dispensaries across the state. So we started with 3 on the first list drop, and then it ended up going to 2, or no, and then it ended up going to 5, and eventually we just launched the list in Colorado a couple of months ago, kind of on the same model. I believe right now there's 2 or 3 dispensaries across the state that you're able to order from the list in Colorado. So it'll be exciting to see how it expands with hopefully more relaxation coming from the federal government, hopefully sometime over the next couple of years.
Sweet. Well, thank you again, man. This is the highest I've been on a pod.
Oh, yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Shlabbin,
Make
you
sure you
got
join
me.
the list, people.
You got me good.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
definitely going to be a good sleep tonight.
That's what I'm going to do right now. See you, everybody.